Never trusted. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Wednesday, April 23rd. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have considered signing the certification of application for the new library in the Clough School Green Communities Grant.
You signed it to Ann, but...
Okay, he's gonna make a motion.
And so I authorize Lonnie Tini to sign the certificate of application for the new library in Clough School Green Communities Grant.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, I just have a couple of announcements real quick. So I'd like to send a special thanks out to our highway surveyor, Alan Tatro, and our tree warden, Howie Phipps, for helping to remove the dangerous tree that was in Memorial and Veterans Park area. There was belief that this tree posed a big safety threat to those who walked near it and to any children who might have been playing in the area. So thank you guys very much for that. Also want to let everybody know that Erin Shinapi, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay. She's from Uxbridge and is being trained to help broadcast and record our meetings. She's here this evening. She's very interested in town government and has volunteered to help us out. And I also want to thank Dick Skinner and Will Anagent for their continued assistance with the recording of the meetings. Thank you guys very much. And also, welcome aboard to Erin. Look forward to having you help us out. Next item on the discussion is a net metering agreement and lease at 36 Melford Street for the solar farm. Are we ready for that at the
I
moment?
think Bob wanted to come in, but he's unable to make it.
Okay.
So probably move this to our next.
Okay, great. Just a couple of items on that real quick. I've been speaking with Pat Kelly, who lives, she's a direct abutter and probably the person that's going to be most affected by the solar farm. I don't know, I'm gonna go over there actually and meet them tomorrow night. We're gonna, right now, the tree cover is sparse. The leaves haven't come in. So I'm just gonna go take a look at some things with her and topology and whatnot to make sure that, that she doesn't have a, view out her back door and how that's just, the solar panels. I don't think it's going to affect them much based upon the way the layout looks, but again, we just want to go over that to make sure that we can do anything we can, or that Sundurance can do anything that they can to help to make that so that it's not a problem for them, whether plant some pine trees or something that would hide it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that the well-written bylaw is going to take care of that for you.
Okay.
Because they have to maintain a buffer between the surrounding property.
Sure, there is a buffer on the actual map that they have, and I believe
It's 500 feet.
500 feet or 100 feet?
Visual buffer.
Right, and that's, I don't know that the buffer would still stop it during the winter months, because there's no evergreens there, it's all leaf trees. So, and the other,
Arborvitae's or something.
right, or even a row of pine trees, they're just, seem to they seem to be a little bit more resilient. Sometimes those arborvitaes die and they're just brown now and look like garbage. And then the other point to make was the access road that they were going to be needing to get to the back piece of property. I know on a plan that I've seen, and again, it's probably adjustable, but a plan that I've seen shows it entering in close to the galley property, pretty much right where the power lines cross Route 16. I think that, pending that it doesn't cause any huge hindrance on what we want to do with the other piece of the property, we might want to move that down to the pine tree line, where the conservation restriction starts. It just kind of moves everything down a bit, and again, it's only going to be a simple road. And what would it, the problem that it would cause now is that roadway, if we put it over close to the galley property, is going to now have to take some more of the tree line out, where if we put it down by the conservation restriction, you're actually just on the line. We don't have to actually cut any more trees down there. So again, just a couple things I'll look at with them and bring to you guys in Sundance. I know I'm coming close to a close here, but that would, I'll be meeting with them tomorrow night, so I'll bring you any findings I have.
When did Bob say he was going to join us? Is it the 12th? So you want to just plan on bringing all that back for our meeting on the 12th? And
The 12th of next month?
Yep.
Will I be here?
so I think it's your last meeting.
Oh, is it? Okay, great. All right, great. No, and I'll definitely have any information. And I also spoke
We'll
with,
extend you until this matter is resolved. Okay?
I'll just come to the meeting and help out. And I also spoke with somebody again from National Grid today to find out who we're supposed to be talking to at National Grid to cross underneath the power lines. And I don't think it's a huge problem. The hardest part, I think, that I'm having with it is that who am I supposed to be talking to is the problem, so. But I did speak to somebody else, and hopefully I'll have some answers on that by the end of the week. All right, done on that. Consider, we have a hearing? Is it a hearing? 7:30, okay. Consider appointing Marty Fletcher, 5 Leonard Road and Kimberly Park, 35 Kinsley Lane, to the Cultural Council.
I move to appoint Marty Fletcher, 5 Leonard Road and Kimberly Park, 35 Kinsey Lane, to the Cultural Council for terms to expire June 30th, 2017.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Congratulations, welcome aboard. I already signed that. 7:30, that's another hearing. Considering amending and reinstating bring your own bottle policy? Anything? Anyone? Anybody? Chief?
Are we waiting some edits on that? Is that right?
Yeah, I think, there was a couple edits, I believe.
You don't need to police it.
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening. Selectman Reel, I think, wanted a couple answers on that. Feel free to ask any questions. I'll do the best to answer them.
Yeah, it was mostly about the definition of the fast food restaurant. I think that was the terminology, or takeout, and how that affects, because, Uber Cafe is the one that was really looking
Right.
for this. And so they do serve the food. If you eat there, they will bring it to your table, but I think the question was, does that, the wording in the policy affect them?
It being a fast food restaurant,
Yeah,
meaning the definition, and actually, that might be a better question for Mr. Ambrosino on the zoning issue.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Come on up if you don't mind.
I'm not sure this is covered under zoning, but something we can ask.
So I think the issue is, in the wording of the bylaw, we had determined that fast food.
policy.
And I'm sorry, in the policy that, that the fast food restaurants would not be able to get this? Is that what the concern is?
Right, and my question was, is Uber Cafe considered the fast food restaurant in that policy, under the wording in the policy?
I don't, to be honest with you, I don't believe it's that descriptive. I know it's not that descriptive in the zoning bylaw, is what would define that.
What was the wording in the policy? Do you have it?
That's all right. We'll take a second. Thank you.
Maybe it wasn't fast food, it was something.
Yeah, issues as far as those that descriptive language really should be handled by the zoning
And I think
committee.
that, as far as if it's considering takeout, I think that takeout is an item that can happen at any
Absolutely.
restaurant or any food establishment.
Or it was tables, it was talking about tables.
Well, that, I remember reading the stuff about the amount of tables in there.
No, I think it was actually table service,
Yeah, that's
where
what it was.
Uber Cafe doesn't necessarily have table service where they have a designated wait staff that actually goes to your table.
Sure, but they'll still bring it to your table.
Correct, you can order it and sit down and they'll deliver the food to your table.
And this is, you know, it's really kind of a judgment call for the board, unless there's specific language in the bylaw, which I'm not aware of any, and it sounds like you're indicating, as one of the drafters, that it's not in there. So it really, probably be more of a case-by-case decision. Do you consider this place to be fast food? As an example, to me, when I look at fast food, I think of things like the pizza places, Subway, Uber Cafe. Really, I don't see that really as a fast food location. That's just not the sense I get from it, and I've certainly been in there a few times. But it's kind of a judgment call for you.
Agreed.
Does that come in the general?
It's just a policy.
No,
The definition?
the definitions.
Oh, I don't know.
And as far as, you know, bring your own alcohol, those issues, for me, the only public safety issue is that they properly control it, remains in the building, just like any other place.
Yep.
I don't really make a particular distinction between whether they served it to you or you brought it yourself. The public safety issue is that, A, you don't leave under the influence, and B, you're not allowed to leave with that open container, whether they've served it to you or someone else, which interestingly will be one of the topics in your hearing at 7:30. Same issue.
It says, "No BYOB permission shall be issued to any fast food restaurant defined as a restaurant with seating but no table service."
So what's the amendment we have? Did you have a motion in there?
We haven't received any amendments.
Okay, so, I mean, what do you have a suggestion on an amendment?
No, I was wondering if,
I mean, it's pretty specific, and I would agree that at that, based upon the way that it's written right now, but I would agree that they would be precluded from getting it.
Yeah, well, technically, anyone, I suppose, could be precluded in that group, but they could also be, it could be inclusive of them as well if they simply brought stuff to your table. So, you know, it might be worth
I mean, I like.
an amendment.
Town council's going to be at town meeting. Any questions you have there, let's run it by him. He'll be with us on the 12th, and we can wrap up on the 12th.
Fair enough?
So right now, we had that, we withdrew that policy. So we enacted it, we pulled it back, so right now we do not have a BYOB policy. We're looking to reinstate it, and I think wants to clarify a couple questions. Fair?
Okay.
that's fine.
All right,
Makes sense to me.
okay. Okay, thank you very much. Discuss the Mass Department of Transportation contract and temporary position for Highway Department.
That contract needs to be signed by the board, and if you could sign it, I got a call from them actually today, wondering where it was. I said I will bring it up to them tomorrow, because I had some other questions for them about that. That being said, I'm lining up stuff to do with that money, so that
Okay.
we're all set with that.
Yep.
Do you have to attach something to it to say exactly what streets and what you're gonna do?
No, that comes under, that will be a project request, which I will bring back to the board again at some point. It falls under the same characteristics as the Chapter 90 projects that we do. That's how they want to disperse that money. So I'll be back to see you anyway. And talking with them today, there is another form that I'm going to get tomorrow that needs to be signed or filled out by either the board or myself, but I'll take care of that.
So, but this is a reimbursement process. I mean,
Yes.
which is, you gotta have the work done by June 30th, and then we get reimbursed
I need to have the
by
work,
September 30th. Physically completed.
I need to have the contract signed by June 30th, the work completed by September, I believe.
clarify.
Whatever it is, I'm
One
gonna,
of these talks about obligation, which I think is more of getting the quotes and things like that, and then there's something here about getting the work done by the 30th, so just, we want to double check on that.
I will. And I'm gonna use the stuff that I bid normally. So there'll be no extra advertising or any of that. So the normal stuff which I bid every year, that's the contractors I'm gonna use to do this work.
So the town's getting an opportunity for an additional $40,000 due to the harsh winter.
41,000, whatever, yeah,
40,000.
yes.
So we're going to approve this, sign it, let Alan get underway with it, and then from a finance standpoint, we'll get reimbursed in September. So we're using current funds and reimburse on the back end, so we do have the funding in place.
Right,
to
we
do
vote on it every year at the annual town meeting, they call it Chapter 90 type monies, and this will fall under that category.
Okay. I move to authorize Lonnie Tino to sign the Mass Department of Transportation contract for Mendon to draw down an amount not to exceed $41,047 for the reimbursement of specific purpose road and road facility repairs resulting from the harsh winter.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Okay, then the other thing I just wanted to mention quickly is that I need to advertise to do something about the employee that's out with back injury. I'm going to find out probably Monday exactly what's going on. I don't believe he's coming back right away. But as you well know, I have an agreement with the board and with the chief about doing the cruiser maintenance, and if I'm essentially down a person, there's no way that I can do that. So I need to I'm looking for the board to approve me advertising this position, and I'm trying to find out what the easiest way to do this is. I contacted a temp service, which they don't normally do this type of temping. But from when I was talking to this individual, they were talking somewhere in the vicinity of $36 an hour. The position's paying 17 and change, but he told me that if in fact they can do this, then we don't have any workman's comp fallback, when we lay them off or we don't need them anymore, they would be on an as-needed basis. They would be covered through their insurance and this type of stuff. So I'm just wondering which direction I should go here. But I definitely need to get somebody like yesterday. I mean, I've been without them since,
What's the financial difference?
it's like almost 40 grand for 6 months.
As far as the workman's comp cost, if it's a temporary position, do we have to offer health insurance while they're there? You know what I mean? What are, you were saying we're gonna pay the temp agency $36 an hour for a $17 an hour job. What does it work out if we need somebody for 6 months? What's the actual per hour cost? I would wanna go with whichever was less expensive.
I don't know what we would have to pay for workman's comp, or not workman's comp, but unemployment, because that's another thing he said we might be under the hook for, over the hook, or whatever you want to call it.
I don't know. If you hire the person as a part-time position or a temporary position, I don't know, then there needs to be more research done. I don't know. I can't tell you to go one way or the other based upon what we have right in front of us. So I need to know.
So who do I talk to about that?
Rich Schofield.
I'll help you analyze that.
Okay, great.
I originally made the suggestion because.
Is the suggestion, do we know what the financial difference is, though?
Yeah, well, we didn't add it up, but the bottom line is that, they paid, the state has paid, unemployment benefits for up to a year. If we hire somebody for a short period of time, depending on how long the guy's out, we've got to make an educated guess on how long the guy's going to be gone and determine from there which is the best direction to go.
And then at what point does this individual go on long-term disability if,
After 90 days, I believe.
okay, so, yeah, all right, I think we just need to analyze it just a little bit more. If you guys could do that quickly, we can make a decision for you. And again, I guess if you needed my input on it, my input would be whatever the best financial solution for the town is. And, I mean, I would just say that I would agree to that route.
Right.
And I don't know what these guys feel, if they want you to come back again, but I think if time is of the essence, I would pursue the course of whatever you two determine is the best route.
Okay,
I trust you guys on that.
thank
I don't know
you.
what you guys feel the same way or not.
What's our current budget situation? You know, I mean, to Rich, I mean, that's, I mean, I think we've been down, all right.
Bad. It's bad, very bad.
Right, so this is a
Just
net
ask him about the
increase.
salary line, but
Oh, the salary line item is fine. Whatever.
Can we pick this up in a minute at 7:30? We do have to at least open the hearing. If you just wait 1 second, we'll just open the hearing real quick, and then we'll get to you guys right away. Just give us 1 minute.
I move to open the public hearing to consider the application of Fat Brothers LLC, doing business as Mendon Twin Drive-In, 35 Milford Street, for an annual general on-premises wine and malt beverages only license under Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 12.
Second?
Discussion, legal notice, the Board of Selectmen hereby gives notice that it will hold a public hearing on April 23rd, 2014, at 7:30 PM in the Town Hall Upper Meeting Room, 20 Main Street, Mendon, Mass., to consider the application of Fat Brothers LLC, DBA Mendon Twin Drive-In, for an annual general on-premise wine and malt beverages only licensed under Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 12. All interested parties will be given the opportunity to be heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Just give us 1 second to just wrap this up, and we'll get right
All I'm
into
going to
that.
say is, the one thing we've talked about it, haven't seen numbers yet, so it's kind of, I want to, I mean, there's got to be some sort of net differential here that we got to identify and find, right? So that's the only thing, before we make a decision, let's see what those numbers look
In
like.
salaries?
Overall
Entire
cost, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, so,
all right.
Mrs. Schofield?
So I just want to make the point crystal clear. You got to find out an estimate from his doctor on how long it's going to be before he comes back. The whole analysis depends on that, so we can't do anything without that number.
Okay, thank you guys very much. Perfect. I would agree that, though, time is of the essence. I know you need somebody. Okay, if everybody would like to come up?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening, how are you?
Good, doing well. Just to introduce myself, if I may, Attorney Joe Hanley, McDermott, Quilty Miller, here representing the applicants who are with me. Michael Andelman to my left, Michael Andelman to my right, David Andelman to my left. Michael is the manager of record on the application. David is a partner. Dan Andelman's also with us, and he's the third partner in the LLC. I have passed out for the board, for the members, a statement of substantial public need with some census data and some other information on the town and the area supporting the grant of the requested license under Chapter 138. Just to give you some background on the team that is in front of you, the Phantom Gourmet team has 12 years of experience in running family-oriented events with the amenity of beer and wine as part of those events for over the last 12 years. Over 500,000 attendees at these events, examples being the barbecue, Phantom Gourmet Barbecue at City Hall Plaza in Boston, the Hot Dog Safari, which is to benefit cystic fibrosis, raising money for that cause and for funds for that cause. And I think what's important to give you in that background is the fact that over the course of these 12 years and 500,000 people in attendance, no violations whatsoever. An impeccable record of operating responsibly with respect to alcohol service. And that's applicable to this application. Michael would be the manager of record. He has managed these events along with the Andelman brothers. They are, as you know, the new owners of, operators of the Twin Drive-In, which is an institution in this town and in the area. They are seeking to add the amenity of beer and wine in a very responsible, secured, and well-managed manner. You have in the application a floor plan. This is a patio area that would be at the drive-in. It would be enclosed with fencing, secured, monitored, staffed at all time. There would be seating, up to 15 tables for banquet seating and the like, or not banquet, but tabletop seating. There's also a food component here. If you've watched The Phantom Gourmet, there's a lot of exciting culinary pairings and stylistic food concepts that go with this. Another component to this, in addition to the drive-in as an amenity, is for special events in the area, weddings, nonprofit events, youth fundraisers for Youth Little League and for institutions around the area. So we think that this also supports, and it's the material that I passed out to you, specifically the requirements of the liquor statute with respect to the public need for your issuing a new license. This town has, according to your own census data, seen an increase of almost 10% population growth. The surrounding towns have had almost 15%. I read your Land Use Committee 2014 study and 5-year plan in which it talks about the need for recreational uses to meet that growing population. And that's exactly what you have before you. So those are sort of the aspects of why we think this is a good idea. And obviously I have my clients here who can tell you more about the concept and explain as to how it would be managed in a responsible manner. So thank you.
My question is that, I know I discussed this with you guys in the, previously. This is for the liquor license that would be the annual liquor license. And as far as the event that you will be having coming up, you're still gonna have just this area?
There might be a special event where a special, concert would be shown via satellite on the drive-in screens. And we would, nothing is in stone yet, we would possibly do that evening as 21 plus. And if we did that, we would maybe get a separate caterer's license for that night or an extension of this license. So that would be all throughout, but we'd only do that if it was a 21 plus event. For 99% of the usage of this, or 99.5% usage of this area, it's a fenced-in area that is for all ages, where we'll have someone at the door to make sure that no one leaves with any product. And while you're in there, if someone wants to get a beer or wine, they will be ID'd every single time that they get a drink, and then you are not allowed to leave with anything you purchased while inside. So there's no chance of anything leaving that area, handing off the drink to someone else. It's a family area with plenty of seating, and if you've been to the drive-in before, one of the things we're trying to rectify is you can sit in your car, and that's about it. There aren't a lot of places for families to sit. So we envision a few picnic tables along the side and lots of tables and high tops so that mom and dad could get a beer or a glass of wine, and the family can sit down and have a hamburger or a hot dog.
Okay, great, thank you.
I'm just curious, you'd made mention of, is there a map? 'Cause I don't-
Yeah, oh, it's right here, sorry.
Got a picture.
So, right. Can I give him this for a second? Do you have the other map?
You should have them too.
So, where's the overview though? I have it here, it's just all stapled or something. Right here. So, there's here's Route 16, here's the existing facility that has the food in it, right behind it, to the back, across the driveway area. Do you have anything further?
Just a couple of questions. You actually answered most of them. My biggest concern is obviously more public safety, and control, so I think you've sort of answered that in terms of, I wasn't aware it would be an enclosed area where none of the product will leave, so that's probably the biggest thing on my mind. What kind of capacity do you see within the enclosed area compared to the total capacity of the drive-ins?
Well, first of all, let me thank you very much. The town of Mendon, the citizens and the people involved in government here have been extremely welcoming and excited to have us. We're excited to be here. We have a long track record of doing business in this state. I founded the company in 1993. It's a 16-acre, beautiful property. The area that we're discussing is less than 5,000 square feet with a capacity of less than 500 people. We operate events in the city of Boston far bigger than that. We've done 20,000 people in a day, family-friendly, and as our attorney stated, we've never had one infraction with 500,000 guests. We want to be great citizens of this community. We want to maintain the family atmosphere of this facility. We just want to build it and grow it. There used to be thousands of drive-ins in this country, and now there's less than 300. Right. So we want to make sure that this New England institution continues to survive and thrive.
So, I mean, back to sort of, when you think about the enclosed area, what kind of capacity do you have within that area? So how do you see managing the flow of people in and out?
Yeah.
Because
At our events, we're given capacity at our events by the city of Boston, whatever city that we are in. And we have a party planner and engineer who works for our company full-time. He sets a capacity number by doing mathematical formulas about how many people per square feet you can have in a given area. We'll talk to you about making sure you're comfortable about that. We basically come up with a couple different plans. One is if we have a fundraiser for a school in Mendon, and we take out all the seats, and we're having a wine tasting in this area. Yep. And there's no tables, there's no chairs, capacity is 600, 650. Then you add the tables and the chairs, and you take about, a certain amount of that space, it can be down to 400. And the way we do it is we click on the way in, and we click on the way out. So we always have a count of exactly how many people are in that area. Right. We would not anticipate this area being at capacity for long periods of time. If you go to the drive-in, this is more of the theater model, when you go see a live play. Yep. And it's you grab a drink or a hot dog before, and you may grab a drink or a hot dog during intermission. This is not a nightclub where you're going to have hundreds of people in there at all time. It's just another part of the drive-in, and as David talks about, we'll expand and we'll do different great things and offer to people who go to the drive-in. This is just another great amenity for families that go there, and we anticipate working with you to get to that exact number. But in the end, the answer is could be 450, could be 700, depending on sort of what's in the fenced-in area for that particular day.
Which, as you know, is an exercise with the building department, the fire department. It's why that was left as to be determined, but that's roughly where we think the area would be.
So would it be, so I understand the idea of events, right? Sort of one-times, you plan for it, you execute it, and you move on. But so day-to-day, the drive-in business is fairly static, weekend to weekend.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering, have you thought about a capacity specific to that operation versus maybe the event planning aspect of it?
Well, I think within there, if you wanted a very rough number, it would be 500 people. Okay. But we'll be able to show you the exact calculations of the square footage, the back end that's being used for things like storage and service, tables, high tops, and show you our exact calculations so that it's safe and fun.
What hours of operation were you thinking that you wanted this license to be?
We open up regularly at 6 o'clock. Sometimes when we're just open in sort of April and May, it might be 7 o'clock, but most of the time we open the doors at 6 o'clock, so we would anticipate start serving at 6 o'clock. And we close our snack bar and the food portion of the evening 5 minutes after the second intermission. So that's when we would close this area as well for serving. The drive-in stays open till later than that, but we would stop serving when we close the snack bar. So some nights, when the sun sets early, like right now, it's around 11:30. And some nights late in the summer, it's going to be around 12:30, 12:40. In a crazy circumstance of when you have 2-3 hour-long movies and an intermission and it's in the middle of the summer, it can get towards 1 o'clock, but that would really be the exception. If you said to me, what is around 11:45 to 12 is when we would stop serving. Doesn't mean if someone had a beer at that point and they were relaxing, enjoying the evening, that they couldn't stay in that area, just like they can stay at the whole drive-in until the last credit goes in the movie.
The only other question I have more to public safety, just the chief's perspective in terms of any impact to traffic, things like that.
Thank you. I have had an opportunity to discuss some of their plans, and, thank you, and there's nothing that's of particular concern. I do want it cordoned off so that they're in an enclosed area, one way in, one way out. Of course, the ability to get them out if there was an emergency, open up the gate wider or something. And on those occasions where they have an unusual event, like one of the things that you're talking about this summer, where you may triple your amount of people, I might want to see a police officer there, but you know, I'd kind of like to just...
Well, let's handle that like we were at the car show.
Right, yeah, if we need it, we'll have it, and, you know, something we'll discuss. And the only other thing that I think it's a great idea, I like the idea that there's going to be food in there, because that's always a good combination when someone's drinking, to put some food in their stomach. And the last thing I'd like is just based on the way I think this is going, how they're gonna develop this place, is once a year, just review a safety plan, which I know that they're big on already.
Okay.
So pretty comfortable with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the audience?
Laurie Sweet, 50 Milford Street. I'm your neighbor, and I think it's a great idea. I'm relieved that it is enclosed, because when I came, I was thinking people are going to have drinks in their cars, and that worried me. But I'm thrilled about the idea. I think it's a great idea. I think it opens up opportunities for older parents like ourselves, because we don't want to go to drive-in anymore, because we get stuck in the back seat, and you know, the kids can't see and all that. So this will give us an opportunity to have more family time, and to be outside and have a nice, you know, evening, and your 14-year-old and your 18-year-old can watch the movie and do whatever they want, and, you know, we can do what we want as well. So I think it's a great idea. I also think it might curb people bringing in their own alcohol as well. So it looks like win-win to me, and it also allows you guys to grow your business, because what you guys do is great for our area. So I'm all for it.
Great.
Well, that statement is emblematic of how we've been treated, and it's much nicer than we're treated in Boston, so thank you. So thank you. Listen, in the interest of public safety, we want it to be out there and served in such a way that it's out in the open and regulated by professionals, so you can bet that it's going to be totally safe.
Your kids babysit?
My kid works for you.
Man.
Hi, I'm Beverly Ginny, 37 North Avenue. I have a safety concern. As somebody who's been down to the drive-in many times over the years, worked there, helped out there, by virtue of the business, it is a dark place. It's dark. It's got to be dark. You're showing movies. Not only is it dark, but families don't sit in their cars. They get out of their cars, they put pillows down, the kids are strewn almost into the pathway of where the cars are. So now you have a dark environment, you have kids laying very close to the pathways of cars, and now you're introducing alcohol. And I know you can say that, well, people maybe sneak it in, but in that circumstance, it's not an environment where people, like if somebody's getting rowdy in the car next door, you can go and say, hey, this is a family environment. And now you've got a liquor license, now you're condoning people drinking, 3 or 4, you know, having some beers or whatever. And then when you close, when you have your last call, say the second movie's already started, it's pitch black, maybe the people want to leave and they're driving out. And they're also driving out the road onto a street that has, right at that spot, a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. I have huge safety concerns just in the venue of it as a drive-in. And then as an abutter to an abutter, my land stops across from the drive-in, that abutter there. If you start saying, okay, so we're going to have these outdoor events, and now, and I know you're saying you've done these many times, but isn't it usually that people park their cars there and then they go and, like a Great Woods, where you would park your car there, and then the venue is inside. Here, the cars are right there. The drinking is a little further over, but people who are watching whatever, whether it's the live entertainment or the movie, their cars are there, and a car, oftentimes I leave and I go, and it's pitch black, and I go, oh my God, kids are sitting out there. Sorry, so sorry about that.
That's right.
So, when you introduce alcohol, you're sort of saying it's okay for you people to be drinking here. And then you can't stop them from if it's in the middle of the movie and it's pitch black, they're gonna get out and they're gonna drive those long, winding, dark pathway. And people sometimes come from towns, they don't even know how to get out of their driveway. They go down a little thing and they gotta turn around. I have safety concerns about if the venue is dark, you're introducing liquor, and you're going out on a road that has a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. You might be I'm sure you're phenomenal business people. I don't, I know nothing about your business, I'm sorry. But I know that you've been in business for many years. But have you had liquor in a place where there's families strewn around these cars and people in the dark going in and out? I'd like the selectmen to, before they really make a decision, to think of, just the venue and how different that venue is from just another place. You get out of your car, you go, you walk, you do, and then you exit this way. Now you're exiting in the midst of this.
All right, thank you. Oh, no, I'm sorry, did you have something?
Well, it's similar, just say, have you seen, is this been done anywhere else in terms of introducing wine and beer to a drive-in? I mean,
There are drive-ins that do it all over the country, certainly, but that doesn't mean that your concern is not legitimate. And thank you for your compliments regarding our business acumen. Safety has to be the first priority in the events business. We've processed 500,000 of our fans through the gates of our various events. And you have our commitment that either Michael, Danny, or I will be at the facility every night this summer, studying it and improving it and making sure that safety is our first priority. We do an event to benefit Cystic Fibrosis Foundation that we took over from our dad. He founded it 25 years ago, where every nickel goes straight to the Joey Fund Cystic Fibrosis. We do it on Lansdowne Street. It's not exactly like a drive-in movie theater. However, it's on a public street where we show up at 3 in the morning ourselves, put up the barricades, bring in the trucks and the power, prepare the food. Thousands of people are lined up by the time we open the gates at 12. We can do 10,000 people in a day. We do sell beer and wine at the event, and there is no evidence that it was there by 5 p.m. So we're very experienced here. We're going to have complete professionals overseeing the serving of beer and wine, overseeing all of our safety procedures, and making this thing as safe as it can be. We're fairly public figures. Apparently you don't watch our show, but a lot of people do. And we're easy to get to. We're there in person. You can get us on Twitter, Facebook. We have 200,000 fans in social media. So the second something isn't exactly right or safe, we know about it and we improve it. And you have our commitment that you will have no problems.
I'd just add, too, Michael spoke about the theater programming. That's sort of akin to, you do see this in other cinemas that aren't drive-ins, but they are cinemas. And they have the component, the pairing of beer and wine, and it's really just an incidental amenity. And that's what this is intended to be. And they'll tell you at the events they do, and what they expect here is that the average patron, it's one glass of wine, maybe 2 tops, and that's what they see. So it's not a big drinking environment, it's an amenity that's paired with the cinema experience.
so, I mean, I'm fairly confident you know what you're doing. But I don't want to dismiss sort of the dynamic that was just introduced. And I don't want to lose that because moving traffic within the event site itself with people walking around, I mean, that's a fairly different type of atmosphere than maybe blocking off a street, bringing people in, and then letting them go back to their cars. So,
Well, I think as really great customers of the Mendon Twin Drive-In, and I've brought my 3 children for 7 or 8 years now, people don't pull in and just sit in their car.
Right.
It's a very active scene. There are football games going on in the middle of the parking lot. And the vibe in there is fun, and we are going to take measures to add more people to the parking lot, whether we had alcohol or not, to make it even more safe for the people that are going there. And like Joe said, we sell a drink a person. That's our average for 500,000 people. It's a drink a person. When you look at why we bought the drive-in and why we want to continue to grow the legacy of the drive-in, the movie part of it is not a great part of it. More and more, Hollywood takes more dollars from you. It's difficult to deal with them, and as an independent theater, and as a drive-in, you can imagine the amount of leverage you have is almost none. A company like Viacom that owns 10,000 theaters across the country, or us trying to book a film, how do you think my deal is for Spider-Man this weekend? So it's not great. So things like beer and wine in our concession business, where we can grow our business and continue to invest in the business in Mendon, are so necessary for us to make sure that the drive-in is there for my kids someday. And I think it would be, and it makes a better experience, because the Snack Shack, everyone, you've been there, it's tough to handle the volume they have right now. So for people to have a better experience, we're adding up more food and more wine. And in the end, I think David says it best. Safety is our #1 priority at the drive-in.
And we find, in the interest of public safety, when you bring beer and wine out into the open, being served by professionals, it is far safer than people who realize you don't have it, have a couple drinks quickly before they get there, try to smuggle it in. Or we've watched some of our customers walk over to the bar across the street. So why not just bring it out there in a family environment? We didn't make it 21 plus. There's going to be a grill next to it with hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, and set it up so that it's served in a responsible way.
And there will be lighting in the area, so it will not be pitch black. All the railings will have lighting. The place where you're serving it will have lighting. A reason we chose this area behind the Snack Shack, way in the back, it's about where 20 oversized vehicles park. It's hidden. It's way in the back. This is not interrupted by, the only people who will be walking over there would be people walking to the smoking section, and those will be adults.
You would expect. I'm sorry, 1 second, Bill. Chief, did you have something to add?
Actually, I think they've done a pretty good job of explaining it, but of course we'll monitor it. Everyone understands how a drive-in works. We're well aware of the dark, narrow corridors that you drive the vehicles through. I've been with a police officer here in this town for 30 years. We've had virtually almost no problems at the drive-in. I can't ever remember someone being hit by a car. So I would imagine that they will continue the good safety standards that the previous owners had, and I really don't see it as a problem. Anyone that believes there isn't alcohol in the drive-in hasn't gone to the drive-in, because it's there.
Mr. Ambrosino?
Yeah, is there a current safety plan in place from the prior owners?
I don't know of one. I mean, unless it's in their policy, but, Mr.
I
Chief?
do meet with them usually yearly, and we talk about safety issues, but I would like to see more comprehensive, professionally developed safety plan. The #1 problem I have always had with the drive-in is not inside, it's out on the street.
Agreed.
I think we all know that. That will be our #1 problem, and I'm sure it still will be with them as well. We'll talk to them about how they can get vehicles off of the street if they've got to have police protection from time to time. But there is no doubt the #1 problem with the drive-in is not inside.
I believe that currently, just by adding the feature of being able to pay with a credit card and opening up all lanes for payment coming in, has actually probably taken a big burden off of Route 16 already. And I know that...
That was a great part of what we did. The credit card transactions we ran for the first time in 60 years, the drive-in took credit cards last weekend. And our average time in was shorter than paying just with cash. And then also, if we have this family area where you can sit down and grab a burger and the parents possibly have a drink, we're encouraging people not to come at 8:15 right before the movie starts. We're saying, come at 6 o'clock, come at 6:30, sit down, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the experience, so that we anticipate less of a bottleneck right at showtime.
Understood. Sorry, Mr. Sweet.
What I was just going to say is what Ernie was saying is, right now at the drive-in, they have one of their staff members that walks the parking lot, and anybody that gets out of control, he either tells them they have to pull it back into control, or they're asked to leave.
Okay.
So the drive-in's pretty well policed right now.
Thank you. Mr. Ambrosino.
Yeah, and my point was that if currently there isn't a safety plan, and we haven't, and these guys are gonna go to a level to ensure safety, like Chief Horn said, anyone who's ever frequented and driving on a continual basis knows it's alcohol.
Understood.
Just so you know how we operate, there's a gentleman that runs our events division who has a background in party planning and engineering. And we do a massive event on Boston's City Hall Plaza that can do 50,000 people in a weekend. The security plan that we provide to the city runs somewhere between 50 and 60 pages. So I don't know if you need that, but we'll give you as detailed a document as you need so that all the residents here know that it's going to be safe and well planned out.
Thank you. Anything further? Mr. Quirk?
14 Park Street. I just want to touch base a little bit on what Michael Handelman said, that the drive-in business now is basically all a concession-based business. You know, they're not working on, I mean, if anyone seems to think that $25 a carload is something that just goes in the till, that's not the way that this works. And if we want this company to prosper in the town, we need to allow them every possible way of utilizing their concessions to be able to grow this drive-in, because let's face it, they're dropping off the face of the earth. So concession is the most important thing here. That's the base of their business. I mean, why not let them move forward with that?
Okay, thank you.
Following up with what Jimmy was saying is, and you're asking for a yearly liquor license, but technically you can't use it all year long because this is an outdoor enclosure. So they're not going to be able to get 12 months out of the year of making that money off alcohol or off food. The other thing I was going to point out is, I'm not awake a lot when the movies end, but is there a police detail that helps people get back out onto the highway? Because I don't remember, I know sometimes I've seen it, but I'm not sure if it's all the time.
Sorry.
You'd know more than me. We're going to talk to the chief about exactly what nights that we're going to use details, certainly all the weekends. We have employees at the end of the night who are monitoring both lots. Because of the temperature last weekend, we jump-started 15 cars at the end of the night. About 80% of the cars stay through the second feature. So about 20% of them leave. So you're about 80% on a sellout night capacity towards the end. And our employees then go out in the parking lot and help get them out. And I assume we'll work with the chief to get the necessary amount of details there to make sure that everyone gets out safely as well.
Mr. Ambrosino.
As that commercial district grows, has anyone ever thought of reducing that speed limit? I know that's probably a state issue, but I mean,
The issue with the speed limit is based on the particular dynamics of the road. That, I won't bore you with it, but that's a rural area for now. So reducing that speed limit is not likely right now. But we'll work with them. You know, I'm going to want details there on some of the nights. The other nights, what I usually have done is, as long as we're available, if they call and say, look, the last show's over in 10 minutes, I send one of the on-duty units down to help clear it out. Get them on the street. So it's kind of a partnership. I've had a partnership with the drive-in for 30 years. There's no doubt in my mind I'm going to have the same partnership here.
Okay. Anything further? All right. You have anything?
No, just that, I just want to make sure folks understand, we're not questioning business models, business acumen. Our perspective is really been safety. Seems fairly fair, reasonable approach to it. The enclosure was the big thing for me, because like a previous speaker, I was saying, there's going to be beer and wine everywhere. I don't know about that, but, yeah, so I just want to make sure folks aren't looking at this as questioning the business model. But it's well-planned, looks well-organized, you've got a background on it, so I think these are just fairly basic questions we really need to ask as part of our responsibility.
Mr. Schofield?
Just a real quick comment, I just wanted to say, I'm actually pretty impressed with, actually, how quickly you got up to speed on the model, what's going on, and statistics and everything. The plan sounds great. Just want to remind you that these meetings are recorded, you can always go back if it doesn't go well. So, I figure you'll probably live up to your word.
The Edelman family has lived under those parameters for 40 years, so we're...
Everything's recorded, right?
You should read my emails.
All right. Anyhow, anything further from anyone? All right, with that, I'd like to accept a motion to close the hearing.
Move to close the public hearing to consider the application of Fat Brothers LLC doing business as Mendon Twin Drive-In, 35 Milford Street, for an annual general on-premises wine and malt beverages only license under Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 12.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to grant an annual general on-premises wine and malt beverages only license to Fat Brothers LLC doing business as Mendon Twin Drive-In, 35 Milford Street, Mendon. With the hours of operation of, did we confirm that, or?
Is it 5 to 1 a.m.? Is that what you're saying?
That's what, and I will, we'll need to have a discussion in case we want to have a charity event or a wedding or something besides the hours of the drive-in operation.
Right,
Go ahead, sorry.
my opinion on this is that we would treat it like we treat any alcohol license that we have in town, which would be that closing, the alcohol has to stop being served. And now, in some instances, we do have some 2 o'clock licenses around town, but I think that they all start out as 1 o'clock.
Yep.
But I also don't want to limit you to starting at 5 p.m. I think that time should be the general opening time for any establishment that we have. So I would ask that it be set from regular opening time to 1 a.m. would be, when you have to stop serving.
Is there a regular opening time we want to state, and do we need specific hours of operations on this motion?
I don't think that,
The license itself has specific hours
Right.
of operation, however you want to make the motion. And
So what time does it open?
Well, the drive-in opens at 6, but I think the chairman is correct. The license should work as any restaurant license works, because then if we want to host
if they're having an event that starts at 11 a.m.,
Yeah.
you'd
Do you
want
need
to,
specific hours of operation for the license itself?
I need it for the license itself, I don't know.
hold on one second.
It couldn't be later than 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mr. Quirk, what is your license?
My license allows me to open at, I believe it's noontime on Sundays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on all weekdays.
8 a.m. to 1 a.m.
The what, 1 a.m. So I'm just saying that
That's what I would mirror, I mean,
it should mirror all the licenses in town, and up to you of a 2 o'clock license, but it should mirror whatever everybody else is doing.
Sure.
I mean, everybody's running on the same thing.
8 a.m. to 1 a.m., 1 a.m.
Weekdays. 12 p.m. Weekdays
Exactly.
plus Saturday? Is the 8 a.m. Saturday too?
I just would say
Monday
Monday
through
through Saturday.
Okay. All right, so hours of operations to be 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Monday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Sunday.
Second?
Discussion?
And the manager should be listed in the motion as well, I'm sorry, I didn't.
It would be Michael Andelman as the manager of record. Right? Did I get that right?
That's right.
Michael Andelman being the manager of record.
That's right.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank
You're
you.
all set?
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you all very much.
Do we need anything from them? We have I saw the check in here and everything. $200, well, I saw a $200 check.
Yeah, we need the check for the, I don't think I put all that together.
All right, we'll give it.
Want to sign this at the end? We have a 7:50 land use hearing.
Try to give me a blank.
Oh. Well, I wish somebody would have told me. I would have paused and opened. Sorry about that. Yikes. Do I need to sign anything?
We're going to have to sign all that stuff
All
at
right.
the end.
You can do it.
Sorry. We have excuse me, everyone, we have another hearing happening. Sorry, I don't mean to throw you out, but get out.
I move to open the Land Use Committee's 5-year action plan hearing.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, is it a
Yeah, come on, read it.
turn?
Sorry, I'm just going to read, was there a... The Board of Selectmen hereby gives notice that it will hold a public hearing on April 23rd, 2014 at 7:50 PM in the Town Hall, 20 Main Street, to receive comments on the Land Use Committee's 5-year action plan.
Okay, so the 5-year action plan is our...
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Chief, could you just shut that door if you don't mind? Thanks.
There are 10 goals that are taken from the Open Space and Recreation Plan, which is like a 60-page report, so this is just like the synopsis.
Great.
And the Open Space and Recreation Plan, the town needs to write grants, and we've received like $815,000 through grants, and we can write many more. Our current plan just got approved by the state, and it's good till 2020, which is great.
Great.
And so I'll have printed copies to you of the full plan, and I'll put it on the website also so everyone can see it.
Great.
But these are the 10.
Bullet points?
They have them.
Oh, you have them?
Yep. So we're told.
So I don't know if you want me to read them, or you read them, or what?
If you want to just go down the list, that's fine.
Okay, so the 2014 5-year land use plan, the 10 goals are, 1, to protect critical parcels of land for conservation and passive recreation. Goal 2, to provide active recreation areas to meet the needs of the Mendon's growing population. 3, to access funding and land protection strategies to protect or purchase land for open space or recreation. 4, to maintain recreational and passive recreation properties the town owns. 5, to protect the town's water resources, wetlands, ponds, aquifers. 6, to provide support to farmers who want to keep their land in agriculture and maintain productive farms. 7, to help guide business and residential development to shape Mendon's growth, avoiding haphazard development. 8, to provide cemetery space to meet future needs. 9, to assist in the acquisition of land for town of Mendon needs. And 10, to work towards the goal of 10% affordable housing units for the town of Mendon.
Great. Anybody have anything further? Accept the motion to close the hearing if we don't.
I move to close the Land Use Committee's 5-year action plan hearing.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I think, do we have a motion to accept it?
I move to approve the 2014 5-year land use plan as presented.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, perfect. Done. Thank you so much, Ann. We discussing computer issues?
Some people have been asking what the status on printers is, what the status on the server is, because they're still having trouble printing from the accounting system to
Sure.
print out their receipts.
Okay. So, right now, and, I'll run around here beside the table for a minute.
So, Mr. Tenio, can you give us an update on the status?
So the check printing software that was running in the old server was what was causing the old server to stay alive. And the resources that we added into the into the existing physical server there's not enough resources to run them both in tandem, the old virtual server and the new virtual server. So now that check software finally got finished today, we can now decommission the old server and then spin up the new one, which is scheduled to happen on Friday. When there's nobody working here, so that we can get rid of that. It will also be set up. There won't be the traditional terminal services that you're used to remoting in and getting a full new remote desktop. It's going to be remote app. which is, there's still a remote session that runs in the background, but you'll just see the app as it runs, like, it looks like it's running just on your PC, with a piece that you install in there, along with this remote app, will allow for seamless printing to either local printers on your local PC, or to PCs that, I'm sorry, the printers that will be loaded into the terminal server from the print server that's already in use. There's been some problems, there's been some conflict with that old server not running correctly that has been causing these major printing problems. As far as the PC update, we will have a full action plan on, I've actually started conversations with Rich on this already. Rich Schofield. The PCs are, we have, now that the whole XP it's gone by the wayside, there's a few things that we've done just to buy us some time, but we're probably looking at a pretty significant cost for replacement of these PCs. A lot of the PCs we have are not upgradable, where you would want to purchase more memory, install Windows 7, upgrade the Office software if needed. You would just be better off to purchase a new PC with it all in. So, but we're looking at a pretty significant change. The problem that we'll run into is everything will run fine just now, with the slight modifications that we make as far as removing Microsoft Security Essentials and installing something like Avast Free or I forget what the other one is off the top of my head. But so we'll put in another free virus software that'll help us get through. We also do virus scanning at the network level through the Sonic Wall. So this is just to protect the local PCs in the meantime. What will eventually happen, though, is if a PC catches a virus or something, a piece of hardware fails on it or a hard drive dies, we can't just replace the hard drive and then reinstall XP, because we can't download the updates anymore. So you can't get any updates past Service Pack 3, because that's what the best I can get on a CD. So Microsoft has stopped allowing updates on this. So that's where we're going to run into problems, is mainly, like I said, everything will run okay for right now. But if we run into a problem, we might need a PC quick. So I think that what, the plan that we're trying to put together is possibly trying to find some money in the budget that would allow us to purchase a good amount of PCs. We can get a better discount by buying in bulk, having them on standby as we start to replace them out one at a time. And if somebody does have a problem, we've already got one there that we can just go and stick and play.
So we talked about looking at infrastructure as a capital effort as well, correct?
Correct.
So the plan you're putting in place is more of an inventory of what the town needs are to start, possibly some recommendations on where you can go, right?
Correct. Yeah, well, the inventory's done, we just don't have the recommendation for you yet.
Right. So, who has the inventory?
I have the inventory.
Do you have a copy of it?
Oh.
This would go on Kim's list. This is sort of top of the list, and I think it's a combination.
I can send a copy to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, the infrastructure from a computer networking standpoint, as well as the telephony, which we still only have 2 bids out there. I don't even think we have the funding right now for that, as well as the printer piece. And the printer piece you're describing, we also talked about going to scanners and electronic, right? Move away from paper, so we were thinking about that as well.
Right, so you, in that respect, as far as the, the printing, scanning, there's certain areas, and I'll use the Treasurer Collector's Office, for instance, okay? They have a pretty big workhorse, HP, that does their check printing, and I think the bill printing is subbed out to Kelly and Ryan, correct? So we don't have that load, but as far as, we're printing checks every week. So that, you wouldn't want to go through, Konica that's, a big multifunction unit that's in the copy room. But in essence, to minimize your cost of actual physical printers that are all over the place and the supplies required to run them, whether somebody picks up an inkjet printer or you have a small laser printer, the bulk of printing we could redirect to a centralized area, just like in any other business that's out there. But for instance, like I said, like in the Treasurer Collector's Office, it makes sense to have that check printer in there. And they're also constantly doing a lot of bill printing for people that come in and ask for a copy of their bill. For instance, Claudia's on this floor. We wouldn't want to have her walk all the way downstairs to the copier to get her printout every time she printed it. Well, that's my opinion anyhow.
In
Sure.
terms of, will this also address connectivity across the municipal departments? Or will it just strictly be town hall? So are we going to be able to look at this from a municipality standpoint, look at networking across?
Yeah, right now, the final pieces of actually fixing the problem that we had was actually a subnetting problem between the town hall and the police department. So right now, the police department has its own servers, and they work in conjunction with fire department. So, and there's VPNs set up between the two. We had a slight issue between the town hall and the police department because we can't set up a VPN to them right now because they had the same exact internal subnets. So we've just finalized the last piece of that with having to make a change at Millville that will now allow us to finish the subnetting change at the police department, which in turn will now, so after this weekend coming up, we should see a significant change in how actually just workflow works. Any other questions? Sorry.
Linda?
Just so that I can be sure of that, not that we've been happy to help, more than happy to help, but after this weekend, Highway, Police, and Senior Center will be back online with their printing
Correct, on the new server.
on the new server.
Yeah, and we'll have that wrapped up, hopefully, by midday Friday, and we'll be able to run some tests on that, so that we'll be sure. But then Monday morning, we should, we'll be available to actually assist with any other issues that cropped up because of the change. But yes, all the printing now will be moved, that old server that's been the key problem will now just be shut off. So no matter if we're still having problems, we have to make it work on the new system. Okay. But yes.
And did you say that this has been sort of bumped into the capital expenditures sort of area, or no?
I think what we talked about when we talked about the need for overall hardware upgrades, we said, could this be considered a capital project? So I think that was the takeaway for the capital planning committee to look at, to see if that would be something on that list and possibly bump closer to the top of that list.
I think that would be a great idea, just from my...
Infrastructure,
Because it's not to be taken like one computer at a time.
Right, right.
That's a town-wide...
And I think, Diane, that's probably sort of, let's capture that, make sure that's a follow-up item, because we probably need to confirm that it can be, and then that it is on their list.
Yeah, the other thing to consider, unfortunately with XP going by the wayside, it kind of causes you almost to have to, the best way to do it is to buy in a cycle, so that you're replacing, so that you budget for 5 computers a year. And you just have that in the budget. And, not necessarily where they go, but a group of 5 that would be installed.
It feels like the fleet. We should handle it the same way we handle the fleet.
What's the?
Yeah, something like that. You're rotating them through because you know they're going to get a lot of use. But we might have a more pressing need now in terms of volume because everything's going to die at the same time because XP is no longer supported.
Right, so it's the same all over the place. We're running into the same thing in the town of Milford right now, where they're actually doing the same thing. They're going to buy, they're buying a large amount. Well, the plan is to buy a large amount based on they could get a little bit better pricing, and then be able to shuffle them, we'll start to rotate them out.
Okay.
Just one more thing, I don't know if the IRS would agree with me.
I'm not sure you've been called on yet.
I don't know if the IRS would agree with me, but this is exactly like a fleet. These are critical pieces of equipment for this town. We're handicapped without our computers. And that doesn't, so it is like a fleet.
Now, if a previous member of the board were here, he might say pen to paper.
But it's not.
No pen to paper.
Is this something that, I don't know if this is doable, but I know the schools lease their computers. Is there any way we could get into that anyway, or would that be too conflicting with what?
The leasing of them is a viable option. And you can look at, you just have to look at the financial difference to it. I don't know what
Let's look at it.
I haven't, there was a lease program when I worked at EMC, and I was involved in it. And yeah, it's great, the whole process behind it, but then I don't know that at the end of the day it was still the best option. I'd have to analyze it with, and we don't lease to any of our customers. I mean, even the school department in Milford, they don't even lease. They just flat out purchase, so.
Maybe it's worth a shoot a note out to Jay, see how they handle their stuff, and, I mean, similar to what we did with paper, right? We chose not to, contract with the school around purchase of paper, but we looked at it,
Yeah.
Mr. Schofield?
I think, and my 2 cents worth is that we'll end up paying more for the same computers. The issue really becomes having a recurring expense line that allows you to flip them over on a regular basis, like we do with computers. That's really what we need. We need a discipline of treating it like an operational expense, not a capital expense,
Right.
because they don't last that long.
Right,
And I think that's sort of the next step in our budgeting, right? I mean, we've come a long way in how we budget, so that's the next sort of
Thing to improve, yeah.
generation evolution.
Again, I think that in this aspect of ordering in bulk, it might be better off to actually have a lease, whereas you can't really plan for it, and you'd have to come up with a huge front-loaded cost right now to purchase them. So, and as I say huge, I mean, I think it's costing for 20 computers, I think it's costing $16,000.
I would ask that our town administrator on May 5th reach out to our technical support team and sit down and talk about what the current inventory and plan starts to look like, and she start to run with it.
She has a busy first day.
Yeah.
But the good news is she can kill a few birds with one stone by meeting with me. All right. Anything?
Questions?
Can I ask? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There's a computer that we need in the town clerk's office, and
There's 2 computers that we have that you purchased that we haven't put into place yet because there's been some round robin on where they should go. And I would just say that I'm to blame for that not happening yet, because I think that I need to get the kind of, I think I need to get that report to you first to say that this is where they should go. But so here's the toss-up. So we can just go throw them in, but both of them were slated for the senior center. One is to be reprocessed somewhere else, whereas there's a major need for that newer computer somewhere else than instead of at the senior center's public computer. But if we're not far away from getting, a boatload of new computers, then maybe we just go put them in just because, they're now 3 or 4 weeks old.
yeah, well, because the town clerk's office, talk about handicapped, because only one person can be at that one computer that they have, and there's 2 people in there. So,
Okay.
it'd be good to have that.
Mr. Schofield?
Tenio's being very kind, accept the blame for that, but I gotta take my share of it too, because exactly what he said occurred, which was after the town meeting where we positioned it and got put through, it was pretty clear that there were other places that might need it more, even though the computer wasn't older, right? So the initial reason why the recommendation was made, because that's where the oldest 2 were, but just because the oldest 2 were over there doesn't mean it's the highest area of need. So I kind of said, well, wait, maybe we should hang on and have a conversation. But the reality is, at the special town meeting, we sold the concept and told people in the discussion, although it wasn't in the motion, we told people that's where they were going. So we almost kind of have to really put them there. I think we should just do that and then find a way to make up the other one.
Okay, so we'll do that. I'll get them to the senior center ASAP by the end of the week.
And then one has to go to the town clerk, and
Well, the funny thing is, I just don't know what we're reprocessing is going to be it's going to even be helpful to the town clerk. It might actually be worse. But we do have, I may have a loaner that we can slide into place for her just to get by, all right? They're $75 a day to rent them. No, I'm just kidding.
I got a couple of those.
Mr. Schofield?
Ms. Tenio, how much would one more additional one be?
With Microsoft Office on it is roughly $1,000.
Okay. So maybe come we can do chapter 77s as of the beginning of at the end of the month, so maybe that's the way to fulfill that, just one and then the other two will be separately done.
I mean, this is the one that they came before us and asked for some time ago, where we said, let's do something more holistic.
Well, I think that.
And we've been running this way since that time. So has the need grown since that time, or is it the status quo since that decision was made?
It's
What-
status quo, only
Okay.
there's two people in that office, and they have to keep juggling what they're doing because they both need the same computer.
Right. So we had a solution. I say we try to execute on the last solution before we determine it won't work. It might work.
Yeah, I'll find out, and if you're gonna get one, get two, because there's a definite need somewhere else.
Let's see the plan before we start
Okay.
going.
Let's get 20.
Can I get rid of DOS now?
No, we cannot upgrade the highway department.
Any other questions on the topic? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Like a mouse.
You guys are getting pretty needy here. So, and as a selectman, I would say I wouldn't purchase anything. Till the report is done. All right. Consider renewing hawkers, peddlers, anything further on that? Consider renewing hawkers, peddlers, transient vendors license for Dirty Dogs, Karen Shalaski, 89 Hartford Avenue East parking lot, wants to move to Mendon driving range, speaking with council. Oh, we don't have to worry about that tonight?
Yeah, she's been working with the owner of the driving range and wanting to move the trailer there. And I have a call into town council to see if they can operate under the Mendon driving ranges common vic license, or if she needs a,
Who's gonna own it?
still Karen,
No, she would need
Yeah, that's what I
she would just
thought.
need to amend her hawkers, peddlers license for that parking lot.
or apply for a new one.
I don't know if you need to apply for a new one or just
Change
the
the
address. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the same thing, but.
Because in the past, we've asked to get a letter with the owner's permission of whoever owns the property. And
I think we would go through that same process. I mean, if it's already with council, we'll wait to hear from them. June 25th, special, okay, June 25th, special town meeting motion.
I move to open the June 25th special town meeting warrant.
Second?
Discussion. We'll close May 21st. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Approve meeting minutes.
I move to approve the meeting minutes of March 5th, 24th, 31st, 2014.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Hold
Nope.
on a second, hold on a second. No, I'm good.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. All set. Did we approve meeting minutes?
We just did.
What? See attached sheet. Discuss Steve Hinton's drainage easement.
So real quick, before we move off the warrant,
Yeah, you can come on up, Steve, that's fine.
just real quick, Diane, can we make sure that a warrant article goes on for the highway department for pickup?
pickup?
Yeah, so make sure there's a warrant article for,
Sure, the highway department can submit an article to the
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen's office
I need more information.
what?
for a pickup truck.
Oh.
I'll set, Rich, sorry. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Hinton.
Good evening. I live at the corner of Askins and Providence Street at 113 Providence. And I'm getting ready on Askins to do, I'm going to subdivide and put a driveway in. Problem being is that there's a right-of-way that's not supposed to be there from what Fred at Shea Engineer said, or he's showed me the as-bills on it. And at the time, it was done in 89 or 90, in the 90s, drainage easement was put in. It was actually supposed to be on the piece of property next to mine, but they ran it through my property. and ran it down onto the street, it looks like. From the original one done in 1976 to 78, it had one on my property, but they deeded that out in 78, and then they kept the whole project, and then the project revived Mr. Carboni back in 89. Then Mr. Carboni took his property and he ran an easement, I have the copy of it here, but when they finally did put in the drainage easement in the 90s, or the drainage, and in the 90s, they ran it across my property, not on their property. So,
So is there just an easement there, or is it actually the drainage cut through that piece of property?
there's drainage there.
Okay, so who's making the determination that it should or shouldn't be there?
Well,
Now, if you don't mind coming up, I just, where it's drainage, you're
like
here.
Fred from Shea Engineering said, the property wasn't, I mean, it's a different size pipe, it's not even the same location that they were supposed to put it on, from Mr. Carboni's.
Do you mind, again, oddly enough, this is a subdivision that my family did. We bought it post this after Mr. Carboni had put. Yeah, the road was already in.
Yeah.
We bought it out of
Well, this is,
bankruptcy or something.
Before I was here too.
Yeah. I was still in high school.
This is the, Mr. Carboni's in 89. If you'll see, the easement runs along here. From over here, it runs here.
Oh, okay, here I am thinking it runs down to, you were looking for something to run down to the street.
But it runs in the street.
No, I'm sorry, I think that it was going, I thought, like it came across this way or something.
Then this is the original one back in 76. See this here? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So they were supposed to adjust to this lot line.
That's right, because.
Here, based upon this plan.
But this is the plan because this is who actually owned the land. They didn't own the land, so they couldn't run the easement back 13 years later. They changed it to here and registered the plan. This is the as-built, and this is the lot line here.
Yeah.
Here's where the easement's supposed to be. And drainage easement's supposed to be.
But the drainage comes across here.
Yeah.
So,
And Mr. Fred from Shea Engineering says, well, they just did whatever they wanted to do. They didn't even put it where it was supposed to be. And he told them that when they actually put the pipe in. And the town engineer knew what he said at the time. So,
He did.
who was the town engineer back then?
Bob Duff.
and he knew it was wrong, but he did it this way because they had laid the pipe here. He didn't want to have to come here. They laid the drain here. So it's messing me up because I'm trying to do a plan right now. And I can't do my plan because it's encroaching on my, and it's quite expensive to move it, right, I imagine.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, slightly expensive. I
Yeah.
just don't know, huh?
Very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at, you got 15 feet.
Well, yeah, but it's almost 200 feet across my property. And
Oh, sorry, was that a 15-inch pipe?
right, and originally it was supposed to be, see here? 20.
That's 20 feet.
18-inch and a 20-foot. But it's not even close to the,
So the drainage easement is currently here?
that's where on the plan is.
Right, so the drainage easement's here, and then the pipe cuts
Yeah.
across your property.
Yeah.
Well,
Go to the second manhole up.
mm-hmm.
That's where that pipe takes off from.
The second,
Actually, it looks like it goes uphill, but it's extremely deep.
Yeah, it must be deep because.
Right.
Yeah,
Extremely deep.
yeah, it must be very deep.
Did you find the marker that I told you we put in?
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah, I know.
But it cuts right across, but it doesn't even cut across this, if you were to use this plan, or this plan, it's not even close to being the
The
same.
only thing that it could be is if that pipe is not straight.
Curved?
Correct.
Yeah,
They're all 3 or 4 foot sections. They could have curved it.
I mean, and come across Yeah, but he's got
the top part of the
but
easement.
Fred's got as a straight on the as-built.
I mean, the only way to do it is you have to run a camera up
Have to
it.
run a
Yeah.
camera through that.
Do you have the camera, or no? Do we always, have to hire somebody for that? Okay, so first off, I think that what we need to determine is, whose problem is this?
Not mine.
I'm not saying it is. Is it a town issue? Well, because here's the problem. Here's the problem that we run into. That these, here, thank you. That this is probably recorded with the registry of deeds. But if the easement is correct, then, and again, this is gonna be a question for council, and we'll have to bounce it through him. Because the way I look at it is, okay, if we have a drainage easement, but the drainage isn't in the easement, at this stage of the game, it sounds to me like it might be a town problem.
That is.
That we need to get the drain pipe into the easement. Now, I know that, like you said, it's costly. I don't know how costly it is to run 220 feet of drainage, which isn't bad, but now we've got to cut into the road, you've got to get it to the catch basin, or put in another catch basin, right?
Was manhole.
Yeah.
Yeah, another manhole, right, not even a catch basin. You have to get that to the manholes.
Take that drain manhole out, run it up the hill further, because that's what they have to do.
Oh, right, okay, to make the tie-in.
Make the tie-in.
And then, based upon that grade, you're right, that thing's gotta be,
Yeah.
that's deep, so all right, let's find out what we need to do here, and we'll work with you to get it done.
Because the only reason I'm doing this is I have a plan here of when I worked with town council on splitting this, because this was, and Chief Horn helped me out with a couple things, I remember.
Yes, sir.
And town council said I'm doing the right thing, but when I went to put the drawing down to where I'd put a driveway or something.
Yep.
This easement came up and my engineer said, no, you can't, you gotta get this resolved because it was gonna be, so.
Well, the funny thing is the easement isn't, I don't think the easement runs across your property.
Yeah, it does.
Ultimately, huh?
Not the easement, but the pipe does.
Right. You could put the driveway over the pipe if you want. There's no easement there. The town has no right to go touch that pipe.
Yeah, see, I just don't wanna put on paper here, I don't wanna put a 20-foot easement across my property and register the plan.
Right, but we can't, I don't think we can chuck an easement on something without the consent of both sides.
That's right, town
So,
council.
At this point,
Engaged in a trespass right now.
huh?
It sounds like the town's engaged in a trespass right now.
Agreed, I would agree. So let us work through
All
the
right.
process, and we'll do what we need to do to get it straightened out for you.
These gentlemen have been very helpful.
That's great to hear. Thank you guys very much. Alan will be up tomorrow to move it. He's got nothing going on. But thank you very much.
With the extra man.
Thanks for your patience this evening.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for us to get through all that.
Thank you. Who will contact me?
I'm sorry, what we'll do is, we'll get in touch with town council. We'll probably have council reach out to you to get all the details. Or if you have an attorney that you're working with, just put them in touch with your attorney.
Okay.
Because we know that that'll be cheap.
Yeah.
Steve,
Yeah.
I would need copies of whatever you showed the selectmen, so I have it for the record.
Okay, I don't have them with me.
Could you make copies of
Yeah, I'll
everything
get it for next
and
week.
send them to, and get them over?
Stop by.
Okay, thank you.
And the other thing was, the town council on, when I split the land, I'm going in front of the planning board. He said, if I need a letter from him, he's gonna go to the planning board,
Okay,
he'll give it.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Consider approving Memorial Day Parade permit.
I move to grant a parade permit for May 26, 2014 to the American Legion Roger L. Wood, post number 355, in observance of Memorial Day.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is it a rain date? Oh, no, they just do it inside.
Are any of you planning to go?
To the Memorial Day Parade?
Past your turn. You are?
You gonna attend?
Two?
You're wearing shorts this year either. Mr. Schofield, pending you're elected, will you be attending the Memorial Day Parade?
I attend the Memorial Day Parade no matter what.
Will you be attending the Memorial Day Parade as a spectator or as a member of the Board of Selectmen marching in the parade?
Or the Boy Scout uniform, yes. either a Boy Scout uniform or a suit and tie.
If you're elected.
But the new guy wears shorts, just so you know.
Nobody wants to see that, believe me.
Yeah, and preferably, do not show up on time. I can give you all the pointers that I've had.
It's your appearance.
Huh?
No, it's your appearance.
Okay, we have a Eagle Scout proclamation for Kevin Perro. Am I saying that correctly, or am I? Piero. We have, so from the Mendon Board of Selectmen, we have a citation, whereas in this era when traditional precepts of faith and morality appear seriously threatened, it's refreshing to find wholesome young American young men who support and respect our sacred institutions, and whereas the Boy Scouts of America instills teamwork and leadership qualities in young men, further prompting the development of strong character, good citizenship, and lasting friendship. And whereas the Boy Scouts of America have made vital contributions to the youth of Mendon through training in the art of living in the great outdoors while building self-reliance. And whereas Scout Kevin Piero has earned the minimum of 12 required 9 other merit badges and completed the Eagle Scout Leadership Service Project by leading a group of scouts and adults in building a series of outdoor exercise stations along a walking trail through woodland owned by his church. Now therefore, we, the Board of Selectmen in the town of Mendon, Massachusetts, do hereby on this date, April 23rd, 2014, award this citation to Eagle Scout Kevin Piero. I'm informing you of the COA's senior work-off abatement work request that I approved on the fly. We'll invite Mr. Stewart to the next meeting. I think that's probably
Okay.
the most realistic thing to do.
Executive session?
Yeah, but just on that permit, that's been something that,
We
it's not an
should do
actual
that.
trailer, he has 2 physical homes. He's been building a home while he was living in the other one. You know, and again, trust me, it's one of those weird things where, you know, either you don't want to, I mean, definitely have him come in and talk about it, but I mean, it's getting almost rude.
Right, we just want to get back, I thought we put some conditions on the last time we did it.
We did, it was, the last one expired June of 2012, and
I
you
think we're
said that
giving
if
some
you,
assurances it would be done.
right, and you said that if he wanted to get an extension or get another permit, that he had to come in and ask for it in person, and then.
So, like I said, it's getting, you know, we have this policy in place to help somebody carry over while they finish a project. We're going on, I don't know, 9 years that I've been here, so, and plus, before I was even elected, so. Like I said, I think at this point, you know, it's time to just, let's get things wrapped up here shortly. It's because it's not, I mean, it's not, at this point, why even have the policy? Just let everybody have 2 dwellings. I move to enter an executive session on Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21, to conduct a strategy session with respect to contract negotiations for the town administrator and collective bargaining strategy session for the men and permanent firefighters and town hall employees union, and litigation as an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the board, and I so declare, and to consider the lease or value of 36 Milford Street, and I so declare that an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the board. Will reconvene only to adjourn. A roll call vote is needed.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Got it, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real eye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.